Good evening, everyone. This is Robin Kearney Frazier, and welcome to the Homesteaders and Preppers Guild meeting for May the 17th. I'm going to kind of go through everything a little bit quick, so if you've got a question about something, please drop it in the comments, either here, wherever you're watching this, just drop it in the comments. I'll see them and I'll answer them as quickly as we can. On the agenda this evening is our upcoming events, our September event, March of next year. Yes, we're already planning it. Hurricanes, hurricane awareness, preparedness, and safety. We do want to take a moment to send prayers and wishes to everyone who was affected by the tornadoes yesterday and last night. I used to live in St. Louis, so the amount of damage that I'm seeing, especially coming from one of the neighborhoods where I worked as a peace officer, is very, very challenging, knowing that I'm in Texas and I can't just drop everything to go help my brothers in blue and the communities that I once served. So just know that we are thinking of you and we'll try to help out the best that we can any way that we can. Coming up for our events in September, which is going to be September 20th. Let me make sure if I open mouth and insert foot. Yes, September 20th. We have sent invites to local first responders. We have heard back from Pipe Creek Volunteer Fire Department. They are going to be coming out. We've sent some to the sheriff, to the marshal, emergency management, and some other fire departments. So we're just waiting to hear back from them. Just a second here. Not quite sure what's not letting me do something, but that's okay. So in September, our focus will be on National Preparedness Month. I do not remember what the, oh, give me a second. This might help. Share screen. There you go. Now y'all can be able to see what I'm seeing. Need people to keep me on my toes. Give me just a second here. I'll see what the theme for National Preparedness Month in 2025 is they do not have up yet. So that's probably why I don't have it. 2025. There we go. No, they do not have it up what this year's main theme is going to be. But that's okay. We'll go with ours and finding out local. We are doing a name change to clarify what this event is for. It will no longer be Fall Homesteaders and Preppers Bazaar. We're going to change it to something else because we want it to reflect that local resources are going to be here, preparatory resources will be here, and community emergency programs will be here. So one of the ones that has been tossed around is either Be Prepared Bandera or Bandera Preparedness Expo or event. So we'll be putting that out there probably this coming week to see what kind of feedback people are giving us, and we'll go forward from there on any formal changes. We are also welcoming any area nonprofits. We are going to have a volunteer fire department fundraiser. We are trying to work with the company to get sponsorship to purchase personal kitchen or automobile fire extinguishers. And we're going to turn around and sell them. Any profits raised are going to go to Pipe Creek Volunteer Fire Department. If there is enough, we will spread it out between others in our area. We were seeking out a possible larger venue, but since this is our first year in which we're trying to go big, we decided we need to maybe take a step back and kind of keep it small this year. We do have a couple of locations that we've already talked to about next year. One of them we're really excited because they're here in Bandera, in Pipe Creek. Not necessarily Bandera County, but they're here in Pipe Creek. What we are looking for is free or nearly free. If you have an idea of one that we could go to. We are a nonprofit ourselves. We do not make any profit from our events. Anything that we do make as a profit is put into guild expenses or usually it's to the next event. Like I said, it does need to be in Bandera County. We're going to be starting out with a base vending fee, which is a 10 by 10. We have no electricity. It's going to be $50 the first space, $25 for each additional space. Food vendors, we're going to ask you donation based. If you have a really good day, please show our donation bucket some love. And as always, food trucks are free, but you do need to be self-contained as we have no electricity. Coming up in March, that's our spring. It's going to be just the Homesteaders and Preppers Bazaar now. We're not going to call it the spring and we're not going to call it the fall. The focus is on homesteading and prepping. We will have a farmer's market along with our presentations and area businesses and resources and other homesteading and prepping groups and organizations out here. We are going to have presentations that cover both topics. We are once again going to invite local nonprofits. They can either discuss, talk about what they do, have a fundraiser, anything that helps benefit them. The event will stay on our property. We kind of like the feel of it that, we're here in nature and natural. While it may limit us on how much we can do, we do like that cozy feeling, that safe feeling that our area gives. Again, the base vending fee for a 10 by 10 is $50 for first space, $25 for each additional space. Vendors are donation based and food trucks are free. We do usually end up paying them because we do have volunteer vouchers. We like to take care of our volunteers with $20 food vouchers. They work like old-fashioned paper food stamps. And that's just our way of thanking the food truck for being here and our way for thanking the volunteers. On to hurricane awareness and preparedness. By failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. I've heard that for a long time, and that is one of the mottos in which we go by for the Homesteaders and Preppers Guild, along with stay safe, stay aware, and stay prepared. In being prepared, we would like to let everyone know that in September, we will be co-hosting a ham radio license technicians class. It is going to be online via Zoom. We're working with the San Antonio Amateur Radio with one of their members who does online presentations. We feel this is going to be the best way in which we can reach the most members and the most people in our communities, and it does not restrict us to just Bandera or Pipe Creek. We can open it up to anyone without geographical boundaries. A part of that presentation will be how you can get tested for your technician's license. Like I said, the course is free, but the test is $35 plus whatever the exam tester is asking for. Usually it's about $15 to $20. Very much worth it. I believe it's a 2-hour block to take your test. There are some that are doing them online, and we'll have access to all that information as we get closer to September. If you would like to have more information as it comes out, please email the Homesteaders and Preppers Guild at gmail.com, and we'll be more than happy to get that information to you. So what is a hurricane? A hurricane is a powerful tropical cyclone. It's a massive storm system that forms over the warm ocean waters. In a second here, I'm getting my cheat sheet. The meteorologist that we had asked to come join us is obviously very busy right now, as we ourselves are under a thunderstorm watch. So everyone in our area, please be careful. I understand that there are a bunch of storms pretty much going all across the United States. Please be careful. Once again, those who have already been impacted by the storms, you're in our thoughts, and stay strong. So hurricane is a powerful tropical cyclone, a massive storm system that forms over warm ocean waters. These storms are characterized by strong winds, heavy rainfall, storm surges, and sometimes tornadoes. Hurricanes develop when warm, moist air rises from the ocean, creating a low pressure system that begins to rotate due to the Earth's spin. And I'm sorry, I do not have any graphics to do all this. They just shot me their user notes. As the storm strengthens, it can become a hurricane, classified into different categories based on wind speed using the Saffir-Simpson scale. The most intense part of the hurricane is the eye wall. It's where winds are the strongest, while the center, known as the eye, remains relatively calm. When hurricanes make landfall, they can cause devastating impacts such as flooding, structural damage, and widespread power outages. Video, there we go. I'm getting there. Maybe I'm gonna get there. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see it.
Hurricanes are very large and intense storms. But where do these giant storms come from? A hurricane starts with the warm water found near the equator. Hurricanes typically only form in tropical regions where the ocean is at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit. These warm waters evaporate, creating warm, moist air which acts as fuel for the storm. Wind is also needed for a hurricane to form. Many hurricanes in the United States are caused by winds blowing across the Atlantic Ocean from Africa. This wind causes even more of the warm water to evaporate into the air. The warm, moist air then rises high into the atmosphere, where it begins to cool. Way up there, the water vapor condenses back into liquid water droplets. Water droplets in the atmosphere form clouds, including big, stormy cumulonimbus clouds. As the warm air continues rising upward, the winds begin blowing in a circular pattern around a center. The spiraling winds gather up a cluster of big thunderstorm clouds. Once the spinning winds reach 74 miles per hour, the storm has officially become a hurricane. Hurricanes are huge. They can be 10 miles high and over 1,000 miles across. Once a hurricane hits land, it runs out of warm, moist air and its winds begin to weaken. But the storm can still cause lots of damage to communities near the coast. Thankfully, we have weather satellites that are constantly monitoring the conditions down here on Earth. The GOES-R series of weather satellites scan the hemisphere every 10 minutes and the US every 5 minutes, keeping an eye on conditions that might cause a hurricane to form. Once a hurricane forms, the satellites can help predict the storm's intensity and track it minute by minute. This information allows meteorologists to deliver early warnings and help people stay safe. Find out more about Earth's weather at NOAA's SciJinx.
That explained it a lot better than I could explain. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy. There's somebody home. Like I said, they explained it a lot better than I can. Definitely, was the same information, but it's a different way of hearing it. So there's a rating scale for hurricanes. It's called the Saffir-Simpson scale. And what that basically is it categorizes hurricanes into 5 categories. Category 1 is just basically you have your tropical storm, you have your tropical surge, your tropical storm, then you have a hurricane, a Hurricane 1. That's when it reaches 74 to 95 miles per hour. This can cause some damages to roofs, trees, and power lines, can bring minor flooding with it. And then your next category is Category 2. The hurricane has intensified. The winds are stronger. They're now 96 to 110 miles per hour. Stronger winds mean that there's going to be more roof and tree damage. More power outages are more likely to occur. And probably see a little bit more extreme flooding. Category 3, which is what a lot of us are most familiar with, and I think I saw a statistic that the average hurricane is between Category 2 and Category 3. Category 3 is when the winds reached 111 miles to 129 miles per hour. This is considered a major hurricane with extensive damage, major flooding, and electricity loss that can be for days or up to weeks at a time. Category 4 is once we've reached 130 miles per hour to 156 miles per hour. This is considered a catastrophic hurricane. There's catastrophic damage. There are buildings that are damaged, demolished, and no longer livable. Houses may lose roofs, walls, trees become uprooted, and there's long-term power loss. And then we reach Category 5. We've been seeing more Category 5 hurricanes in the last 20 years than I remember in the first 30 years of my life. These are where the wind speeds are 157 plus miles per hour. This causes devastating destruction. Buildings are severely damaged or destroyed, and entire areas may be uninhabitable for weeks or longer. So what is the difference between an area of interest and a watch and a warning? Well, an area of interest is a broad region where atmospheric conditions suggest the potential for tropical storm or hurricane development. It's an early signal for meteorologists to track and assess where a storm may form. We like to equate this to making tacos. An area of interest, you're thinking, I'd really like some tacos. Tacos sound good. Then we get to a hurricane watch. Oh man, tacos are gonna happen. An issue that's been issued when hurricane conditions are possible for a specific area, sustained winds of 75 miles per hour higher, usually 48 hours before landfall. This is me going to the store to get what I need to make tacos. We know it's going to happen. We don't know how much, how big it is or anything it is until it actually gets here. But in my mind, if I've seen a watch, I'm going to the store and getting me tacos. A hurricane warning has been issued. This is when conditions are expected within 36 hours of less. That's landfall, not actual. Well, yeah, it's landfall. They know about, at this point, they know when it's going to hit where it's going to hit on the land. This hurricane threat is imminent and residents should take immediate actions. Back to our tacos. I'm sitting there eating my taco, man. That's just all it's to it. Hurricane warning is no longer the time to think about tacos, no longer time to go to the store for tacos. You're already sitting there eating tacos, or you're not getting any tacos at all because you didn't pay attention to the first two steps. So that brings us to hurricane preparedness. This is one that I know more about. So when should you start preparing for a hurricane? Simply today. Don't wait until June. I think June to November is our hurricane season. Don't wait for that time. Start now. Start this month. It's important. Even if you don't get hit with a hurricane, you could have a tornado. Like I said, we're under thunderstorm watches. Weather happens at any time. If you start preparing today, no matter what the weather scenario is tonight, tomorrow morning, a week from now, you're prepared for it. So what things should you consider? Evaluate your food stores. Don't forget the can opener. There are so many times that I've heard some friends of mine who've gone through some severe weather. They've stockpiled all this food. They got cans and cans of food, but they don't have a can opener. Got to have a can opener to open that can because not all cans have a pop top. Now is the time to check the batteries on your flashlights and camp lanterns on a regular basis. I have them scattered all over the house. We live out in the countryside, so losing power intermittently is, when we have high winds, it happens. Sometimes it's the neighbor's trees that fall on power lines, and sometimes it's your trees that fall on power lines. You never know what's going to happen. So what I do is at the beginning of every quarter, so we're talking January, April, May, June, July, August, and October, I'm going around and I'm checking all the flashlights in our house to make sure that they work and they have good batteries. We have camp lanterns. You can get them at Walmart for like $10. They're like this big and they're real cute. They're like red and they have 3 settings: bright, the red light, and a blinking red light that you can use for a hazard. We check those as well. We do rechargeable batteries. And a little trick that I have is I have 3 containers of batteries. 4 containers of batteries. They're all rechargeable. They're all different brands. Actually, they're different. More specifically, the batteries are different colors. Why is this important? That tells me that if I have all of my flashlights and lanterns gathered together and I've got them all open up and I've popped all the old batteries out to put on the charger, I know to go to the next quarter of batteries and I can easily look and say, okay, I was using silver rechargeable. This is a green rechargeable. This one's already been changed. It helps me make sure that I am getting every single one and that they do have fresh batteries and that all the previous quarter batteries are going onto the charger so that they are ready and prepared. Now is the time to think about an alternative power source and means to prepare food. This could be solar panels that once this crisis has gone over that you can throw out and it'll charge your phone or a tablet or something. You can go to solar power where you're completely off grid. It doesn't matter if other people lose power because you're still going to have power. It can be, powerful enough to power a little cook stove. We prefer propane or they're like the little sterno cans. They work really great inside without no odor or anything as an alternate means to prepare our food. Most of our canned foods and foods that we can are already cooked. All we have to do is open it up and we can eat it if we want, just like that, or we can heat it up. So the little sterno cans are just the right amount of heat to heat a food up for a person. Hand crank or solar powered NOAA radio. That's the National Oceanographic. And I forgot what the rest of it means. Give me a second. It is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I knew I'd remember it probably after we've already needed it. Okay, where's mine? There it is. There's two different kinds. I actually have one that has both. It has a little solar panel on the top and it has a hand crank so that you can start charging the battery and to be listening to the weather radio right now. It also has a little USB port so I can charge up my phone. It works really great. Gives you something to do. Sit there and keep cranking it, and takes about 5 minutes to get it full power and it lasts about 4 to 6 hours. Great thing to keep kids busy. So when the storm has become an area of interest and a watch, you should be checking your supplies for the ability to secure your property and actually securing your property. This is going to be your plywood to board up your windows. This is going to be your sandbags if you're in an area prone to flooding. This is going to make sure that your doors can be locked, your windows can be locked if you need to leave the property. You'll want to arrange a potential bug out location. If it comes in, our rule is kind of, when I lived down in Corpus Christi, category 1 and 2, we stay. Category 3, we flee. So as soon as they start talking category 3, we're already grabbing our bug out bags. We already know where we're going to. And that is a bug out location. It's somewhere other than we're in the direct line of threat. We were bugging out to San Antonio, to Waco. I think one time we bugged out to Austin. It just depended on the circumstances at that time. I now live west of San Antonio, so I am the bug out location for my kids down on the coast. Have cash on hand. With no power, ATM machines don't work. No phone services, ATM machines don't work. Credit card transactions can't happen. Have cash on hand. Cash is king. This is when you want to pull out your alternate source of power and your cooking. So if you've got a battery and you've got a solar panels, you know what, start pulling those solar panels out. So once the storm is over, all you have to do is set them out. You don't have to be unboxing them and looking for them. Have them ready. Have your cooking area set up with how, inside with how you're going to cook. This is where the little sterno cans of heat come in fantastic. You could be in the middle of the hurricane and you can still cook and you don't have to worry about carbon monoxide poisoning. Always consider evacuating sooner rather than later. There's been so many times that when a hurricane's coming, especially in the larger cities, where people are like, oh no, we got to get out of here, we got to evacuate. And they get stuck in traffic. They run out of gas. They're in the direct line of the storm coming in. It's all these different things where at some point you got to say, you know what, it's not safe to evacuate anymore. I need to stay in place. I need to call my family members, my mutual assistance group, and say, hey, I'm stuck. I'm going to have to bunker down, hunker down, bug in, whatever it is that you call it. I am now stuck. I have to stay where I am at. A MAG is our mutual assistance groups. This is a group of preppers who come together to kind of form a community to help each other out. You're wanting to secure your property. If you haven't already boarded up your windows, time's to do it. If you haven't put your sandbags out, filled your sandbags, now's the time to do it. We have what's called a pig. It's a big blue tube filled with the same stuff that they put in diapers that we can put in front of our doors and make little, flood barriers to it. They work really great. They're reusable. They're not dependent upon me having access to sand to fill my sandbags. So if you've reached your point of bunker down, you missed your window to evacuate, let your contact person know. My kids call me or message me, say, hey mom, we can't get out. I'm here. I know that they're at their house, that they went to a friend's house that has a second floor. They're where they are at and where can I find them, So the next question we are asked is, how much food should you store? That's always a big, big question. We keep a running storage of 6 months. I know that if social economical collapse were to happen, my family can eat for 6 months. Are they going to like what we're eating for 6 months? They might get a bit tired of it, but we've got enough food for 6 months. But the recommendation is 3 months. Not everybody can do 6. How much? 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day. I actually don't need that many calories per day. I currently don't consume that many calories per day. But on the average, you should have between 2,000 and 2,500 calories per day per person in stores. And you're going to want that little bit of higher calorie count because when you're stressed, you use more calories. You're going to be moving around. You're going to have debris to clear. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do that. And that energy takes calories. You're going to want 90 gallons of water, at least 1 gallon per day per person for drinking, at least 1 gallon per day for sanitation. It averages out to about 3 gallons of water per day. We have the 3-gallon water jugs. We prefer the square that you can get from Walmart, online, and Amazon. I like the square because when I'm storing it, there's less wasted space than a round container. These square ones also stack on each other, much easier, much better than the round ones. And we keep on hand at least a week's supply, sometimes even longer, that we know coming up on hurricane season, I'm going to be bumping that up to a 3-month supply. We have a larger water storage container unit. That's what we use. If you're down to the wire, take and fill your tub with water. We have a water, a tub bag. You put it in your tub, you fill it up, and it's just a bladder of water. Keeps your water from becoming dirty, contaminated, and it's great for sanitation. It's not something I would want to drink unless I was absolutely desperate and I had a way to filter it, which we do have life straws. We keep those on stock all the time. So that gives you an alternate water source where all you have to worry about, okay, I need to go out and buy water for drinking. You know what? My water coming out of my faucet is good for drinking, so I'm going to start bottling water. Because I know I've got that tub that I can have my sanitation water. When you're storing food, grains have a longer shelf life. And this is something I did not know. Flour, once a grain is already made into a flour, you've cut its shelf life. Grains will last longer in storage if they are a whole grain. That was interesting news for me. You do want a balance of items from each food group. So you're going to want to look at having your proteins, which can be canned or dried meats, beans, and legumes, usually about a pound and a half per month per person. You're going to want to make sure that you have fats and oils. This is going to be your vegetable oils, your peanut butters, your nut butters, your seed butters. And they say, you should have about 2 pounds per month. We have vegetarians in our family, so we have a lot more canned beans than most people do. Sorry, my throat's bothering me. Dairy, powdered or evaporated milk. This is for calcium. This is your other vitamin D's. We get, give me just a second here, and I will give you exactly the name. Off of Amazon, if you put in, well, first of all, we have pea protein milk, which is shelf stable for 3 months. We have almond powdered milk, which is shelf stable for 2 years. We also have, we also have almond milk in canisters that's shelf stable. It's 3 months. We have shelf stable 1% milk boxes. That's for the kids, or some single servings. Those are shelf stable for 6 months. We get what's called Milk Man. It's a low-fat milk. It's a dry milk. It has 8 grams of protein per servings. It contains vitamins A and D. It's shelf-stable, hormone-free, kosher. 4 servings in 1 packet. And there is 18 packs to a box. And it is about $60 per month. So what I do is I set aside 10, 10, 10. Every 6 months I buy a box. Every 6 months I buy a box. So that is what works for us in staying in line with how much we need for food supplies. Don't forget cooking essentials. Your sugars, your flours, baking powder, yeast, vinegar. Vinegar can be used to help store foods, fruits and forgot to bring up fruits and vegetables. Canned, dried, or freeze-dried are options for vitamins. Make a great snack when you're wanting for just something a little that's sweet and crunchy. I'm not going to say that I'm guilty of getting into my freeze-dried supplies for snacks, but you want to rotate your supplies so you always have fresh food and not expired or near expired food. So we advocate. I advocate. Make sure you're storing foods you actually eat. So that means, yes, I'm using this food right here, but I'm going to put some more in storage over here. It's the same thing. I'm rotating my foods, first in, first out. I never have anything on my shelf that's going to expire within the next 6 months. Well, I take that back. My shelf-stable milks, those are usually 3 months, but we have had a container or 2 slide through that made it up to the 6 months. It was still very drinkable. Expiration dates are just something that the government says has to be on there. Usually it means they're the best buy date. As always, when in doubt, throw it out. If you open it up, it smells funny, it smells off, it's supposed to be liquid and it's chunky, throw it out. That is a really good rule to understand. If you are not sure about eating something, throw it out. If you keep rotating first in, first out with your food stores, there's going to be less of a chance of you coming across food in your food stores that's not safe to eat. Don't forget your pets. We have 4 dogs and a cat. We used to have chickens. We're going to hopefully go back to having chickens sometime soon. I got to get my health under control. But don't forget your pets. So, man, I've got 2 big dogs, a medium-sized puppy that's aiming to be a big dog, and Wicket. Wicket's not a small dog, but he's not a medium dog. He's kind of right there in between. So how much food do I need to save for them? I calculated their daily consumption. I sat there and I watched, okay, I have a old coffee tub. I use that. I know I go through 2 of them a day. So if I want for 3 months, I take how much that food is times 90. That's how much I have in my storeroom. I have right now, I think we've got 3 or 4 bags of food in the storeroom of dog food, and we use it. So when the bag I'm using right now is empty, I go to the storeroom, pull a bag in, put on the grocery list that we need another bag of food. I'm constantly rotating through my foods. So if you're not sure exactly how much your pet eats, typically a medium-sized dog eats 1 to 2 cups of dry food per day. I have big dogs. I can tell you right now, Violet eats 4 cups a day, twice a day. She's not fat. She is big. She's part Great Dane, Labrador. Just gonna leave that right there. So for 3 months for her, I need anywhere from 90 to 180 cups per month. Actually, because she eats more, I need 180 cups per month. If you're using canned foods, plan for 3 to 4 cans a day. Because we have so many dogs, I do have the large industrial size, Costco, Sam's Club, you know, online order from the manufacturer, biggest can of dog food we can get. And I know that 3 of those a day is going to be enough for all of my dogs to eat. We do have a cat. We do keep her, she does eat about a half a cup to a cup a day. Probably not quite as much because we do feed her. She's older, so we feed her some wet food. So I always have 3 months supply of wet food on hand for her. Plus I have a big old bin of her dry kitty kibble. So if you have other small pets like rabbits, guinea pigs, birds, they all have different needs. You're going to want to stock up on some hay, some food pellets, seeds, or fresh produce accordingly for them. I know they can be a little bit more challenging. With our chickens, we certainly let them forage. That's the best way to put it. We let them forage. Don't forget water for your pets. Anywhere from a half a gallon to a gallon of water per day per pet. If you have anybody on medications, like I said, Wicket's old. He's on medications. My vet is fantastic. She gets me 90-day supply. And I know that when I reach midway, I can go in and I can get another 90-day supply. And she'll do that for me twice. And then she makes me wait the full 90 days. So I always have a 3-month supply of meds on hand for him. A vet can also recommend first aid items. Give me a second. I think I got somebody trying to come in. What's up, Wicket? All 4 of mine are now in. Well, don't forget a first aid kit for your dogs, for your pets and your cat. If you're not sure what to put in it, ask your vet tech. They're gonna know. They're gonna say, hey, you're gonna need this, this, and this. This cream is safe for dogs. This over-the-counter medicine is safe for dogs or cats, whatever it is that you have. If there's something that you need that isn't available over the counter, work with your vet. They're always trust me, if you're telling them, I want to take care of my pet in an emergency, they're sitting there going, yes, because that's what they like to hear. Sorry. Have your medical records for you and for your pets all together in one place. Wherever you put your medical records, have your pets right there. We have everything scanned in and on an external hard drive that I can just unplug and go. Livestock. A lot of homesteaders and preppers have livestock. It's more challenging, but you know how much your animals consume. When we had chickens, I know that our birds went through a 50-pound bag of food every 2 weeks. So we were buying 100 pounds of food a month. So I know that in my water-safe, watertight, airtight container that is a high-density plastic that mice can't chew through, we did have a little bit of rat issue, but it's harder for them to chew through. I usually had 3 months of food for them. Plus they forage, and I'd have seeds, bags of seeds, put them in the same type of container. They're going to last. If you leave them on the shelf, well, then Mother Nature's going to get into them and eat too. So you also want to consider which of your livestock is a ready-to-eat source. Our chickens give eggs. Cows and goats gives milk. So you can include that into how much food you have for consumption for you and your family. Do they need to be processed? Bunnies are great. Bunnies taste delicious with bunnies taste delicious smoked, slow roasted, with an orange sauce. But they have to be processed. So it's something you're going to have to keep in mind. What do I need to process these animals? How much water do I need? And then you're going to want to take that back to how much water you're storing and add in for it. Of course, larger animals take more to be processed. Sometimes you have to take them somewhere else. Final thing, don't forget shelter for them as well. That's so very important. You need to stay safe. You need to do what you can, make sure your investment of livestock stays safe. But there's only so much you can do. Tornado comes through, keep you and your family safe first. Livestock can be, I don't want to sound cruel, but livestock can be replaced. If there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Drop them down in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and we'll see you all later.